what I offer is true freedom of choice. What I have found within myself is that there is no one right or wrong way to heal yourself.
Okay.
If you're doing something that works for you that doesn't hurt anybody else, go do it. Right? If you want to go take a nature walk and scream at the top of your lungs, go do it. If you want to go see a traditional counselor, by all means, go do it. If that's what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, you want to see a life coach, go do it. You want Reiki, you want, art therapy, you want to listen to music, go do it. There is no one right answer. And in fact, when you reintegrate yourself into your whole self, you bring back your body, mind, and soul. You take control and you say, I am a whole person. That really gives you a new kind of perspective over your life.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie, and we are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. I have a very special guest lined up for you today, and I am stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey there, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together. Kathryn, you want to say hi?
Okay, hello everybody. I am Kathryn Annis, owner and founder of the Dawning Institute, also co-author of the book Death, all about near-death experiences.
Yeah, so we are super excited to get started talking with you. So for our audience, this week we're honored to welcome the incredible Kathryn Annis, co-author of the thought-provoking book Death, here we go, and founder of the Dawning Institute. Kathryn is a guiding light in the world of healing and transformation, having turned her own profound experiences, including a near-death experience as a teenager, into a life dedicated to helping others. Her story is one of resilience, transformation, and unification, as she shares how this pivotal event helped her heal deep-seated trauma and empowered her to inspire others on their journey towards wholeness. Kathryn's passion for guiding people through the most difficult parts of life, whether grief, trauma, or emotionally intense challenges, shines through in everything she does. Her unique perspective on wellness is rooted in the belief that the true healing comes from addressing the whole person. Through nutrition, movement, creativity, and a holistic approach to well-being, she encourages individuals to embrace their pain, break toxic cycles, and find renewal in unexpected places. As a unifier and advocate, Kathryn brings people together, mending strained relationships and lending others toward healing in their own terms. With a powerful network of professionals supporting her, she helps individuals craft a brighter, more hopeful future. Her life's work is a beautiful reminder that from struggles emerges profound transformation, and that through connection, we can turn pain into purpose. Kathryn?
Allie, you're going to make me cry. Oh my goodness.
I'm so glad it touched your heart. You're amazing. You should know that.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. I think I would like to get started, if you don't mind, unless there's somewhere specific you would like to start, with your near-death experience, if that's okay with you. So you've turned your pain into purpose. Your near-death experience as a teenager was clearly life-changing. Can you share what that moment was like for you and how it shaped the path that you are on today?
That's a great question. My near-death experience, although rather short, it really highlighted what the capacity of love out there is. So, when you grow up in an environment that there's really not that much love available, and you go into this experience where there is an overwhelming abundance of it, it really kind of shifts your perspective. So yeah, the near-death experience itself, my brother passed my older brother, he's about 16 years older than I am. or was, and he passed about 2 weeks before I turned 10. And I can't imagine what that birthday was, especially for my father. It was my father's son, so my mother was the stepmother.
Okay.
And we had this special bond.
It was Jerry,
so
right? Do I remember that name?
Yeah, his name's Jerry. So he was Jerry Jr.
Okay, shout out
He was
Jerry.
a firefighter. He was a firefighter in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
He graduated top of his class. He had a heart of gold, and we really had this special relationship. And in fact, when I was growing up and I couldn't even say brother, I would call him Brabu.
Aww. Your smile got so big when you started thinking about him.
Yeah, I, it's one of those things where that at least I know that, he's been with me since I was little. Since after he passed. It's one of those things. I was sleeping in my room and all of a sudden I felt this presence and it scared the bejesus out of me. And I ran out of the room almost screaming, and my mom asked me what's going on. I go, I don't know what's going on, but something's in my room. And she goes, oh honey, don't you worry about it. She's like, that's just your brother checking in on you.
Aww.
And so that was my first real kind of experience with the other side.
Okay.
And since then I've been able to use my discernment. You use your gut instinct. People say, is this a good feeling? Is this a bad feeling? Is this a good entity or not? And so I've been able to kind of shift around that. So when the near-death experience happened, I saw my brother at the apex of light, and he told me it wasn't my time yet. Wasn't too happy about that. Not gonna lie, I wasn't very happy about that at all. Didn't want to go back.
Okay.
And I spent the next 20 or so years waking up almost every day angry that I was alive.
Wow.
Because that's how deep and intense the love was that I've never known until that moment. And so when I was able to free myself from, all these medications, from the misdiagnosis, and really started to open my eyes, it's been a long road, but I'm starting to really come back to wholeness. I've really trudged the trail of coming back to wholeness, because you cannot really heal until you face the monster in the mirror. And I have noticed that I have always been my worst critic and my own worst enemy. It's those trauma tapes, the things that people say when you're growing up that make the deepest impact.
Sure.
And so it's really kind of recalibrating myself and telling me that's somebody else's story. That's somebody else's darkness. That's somebody else's poison. That's not mine.
Right. Wow. Okay. May I ask, what were the circumstances that led to your near-death experience?
I believe it is severe sleep apnea. So it was, my father has it, and apparently it's hereditary. So thanks, Dad. So that was great. No, but really it was probably a combination of the sleep apnea and the medications that I was forced to take.
Okay.
So either one or I can't, definitively say.
Right.
But the 1-2 punch probably.
Understood. So it was a combination of the apnea that you inherited from your dad and from the medications that you were taking. Wow. Okay. And you said it was very short. So is there any way to determine like how long you were out or gone for? I don't know what the right word to use is there. Dead
so
for?
it happened. So it happened while I was sleeping. So there's no hospital, no medical professionals. Okay. It had to be within that window, where when you die, you're able to come back. Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they say, I believe the medical community says about 3 minutes, and then you really go beyond the point.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm saying that's the window. I can't be for certain.
Well,
understood.
A lot of times, people that have had a near-death experience say that their time while having the experience is different from reality.
Oh yeah,
Like
maybe I
they're
should
there for a
specify
lot
Earth minutes.
longer. Yeah, you know.
Right. Right.
Um,
And it's one of those things where they have, and I've seen so many videos, I've been a part of this book, I've heard so many stories.
yes.
It's been amazing. The thing is, I believe all of them had some form of medical intervention to keep their body alive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I didn't.
Yeah.
And that might be, why at least it's short. I didn't make it past the apex. My brother told me that it's not my time yet, go back.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you mean by the apex? Like, do you feel like you were like headed towards the light, but didn't
Oh, yeah.
actually like go into it? And like, can you describe that for me, please?
Oh, of course. So I remember I was dreaming and it all of a sudden abruptly stopped. And there was this light circling me. And I remember elevating up and
Okay.
this overwhelming love that just enveloped every cell in my soul. And as I was levitating up, I remember I was looking up, and my right hand I extended towards the apex. My left hand was mostly by my side, and I was just like, I am home.
Aw.
This home that I have never known, and even to this day, it's just a place to live, right? I don't know where home is, but that was home, and
Aw.
I'm just like, I'm back. I am home. And so just as I got to the apex of light and I was just about to put my hand through, my brother's voice, the most loving, gentle soul, I don't want to say boomed out, but it was definitely, you heard it.
Uh-huh.
And he said, it's not your time yet. You need to go back. And I was just kind of startled, like, what are you talking about? I don't want to leave. No, excuse me, sir. No, this is no.
Uh-huh.
And I remember this force just pushing me backward.
Oh wow. Back through the tunnel.
And
Okay.
have you seen like the posters? I've never seen this. I've never seen the show, but have you seen the posters or screenshots or whatever of The Expanse, where it's like that woman's falling backwards?
I
From
don't think so.
like,
No,
and
I
her
don't think I've
arms
seen
and her
that one.
legs are
I feel
extended.
like I can imagine that, but like, so it's kind of like you're just kind of like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And you're
Okay.
just falling backwards. And I remember screaming, no, right? It's just like, I don't want to go back to this hellscape. Like, absolutely not. I seriously want to reread the terms and conditions of this incarnation because this is some serious shenanigans.
Yeah, me too.
Show me my soul contract. I want to renegotiate it.
I want to renegotiate. Okay, this is not okay. This foolishness is not okay. And I remember waking up and I was just gasping for air.
Sure.
Okay.
My lungs stung. My joints were stiff and achy, and it was just
okay.
like my heart felt like it was going to pound out of my chest.
Oh wow.
I've never woken up like that before nor since. And I'm just like, oh my God, what the F was that? And it's really just started flooding my senses, this memory, and I started just crying my eyes out because it's like, oh my God, I just died. I just died.
Yeah.
And so how do you handle that when you're like 17? It's just like, I just died. Like,
you were
what the
only
hell?
17. That's right. Wow. I'm sitting here like looking at an adult thinking it was like recent, but no, this happened when you were a teenager. That's right.
Wow.
I said that earlier. Okay. 17 to have that happen at 17.
Yeah, that's
wow.
And to
wild.
add even more oomph to that, to the clarity to the scene. So my bedroom, I had a futon bunk bed. And I was actually laying on the bottom part, so the futon was pulled out, so I had a little more space to kind of sprawl out. That kind of brings in the innocence to that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. And so I remember I got up, and after I could actually move, calmed down a little bit, went into my mom's room. Here it is, like 3 a.m. or something. Went into my mom's room and I'm just like, Mom, and I'm really timid, right? Like, what the fuck? And like, Mom, I just died. like I just came back. I don't know how to and I'm just looking for reassurance,
Comfort,
Yeah.
I'm looking for
validation,
some sort
something,
of
right?
concern, validation, something.
Did you get that?
No, of course not.
Oh.
No. All I got was, damn it, it's 3 a.m. That was just a nightmare. Go back to sleep. Don't wake me up for this foolishness. I've got to go back, I've got to go to school in the morning. You cannot be doing this.
Wow.
Jeez. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah, that was, that's just basically perfectly encapsulates, the kind of upbringing.
Okay.
So, when I hear people say that they go no contact with their parents, absolutely no judgment. And in fact, if I advocate for it wholeheartedly, as a last resort, right?
Okay.
Because it saved my life.
Okay.
I've been no contact with my family. I basically have no family for the past 4 years.
Oh
But
wow.
I have done
By
the
your own
most
choice? Like this was
by
your
my own choice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, in 2019, I saved myself from, I guess you could say, the mental health system. There was
Okay.
a study that I saw that happened with Stanford researchers in the 1970s.
Okay.
They took 8 people with absolutely no psychiatric illness, no history of it, and sent them as an experiment over to a psychiatric hospital to have them say, hey, I'm hearing voices, XYZ, but do not act any other way other than normal. Just be normal. Just say
Okay.
you're hearing voices.
Okay.
All 8 of them were misdiagnosed with severe schizophrenia or bipolar or something like that. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar.
Okay.
I don't have bipolar. I have ADHD, which in women, it's not really, it's different than how it manifests in men.
Okay.
So when women say, hey, I'm having XYZ going on, and more times than not, it's misdiagnosed. So I wasn't bipolar. I have ADHD, and I
Okay.
have
Wow.
BDD. So that puts a whole nother layer on it.
I'm sorry.
But what happened in that was that they were all severely misdiagnosed. They were all given these really potent psychiatric medications.
Sure.
And when Stanford pulled them out after that, after that initial period. And Stanford then told the hospital, hey, this was an experiment. Congratulations, y'all failed.
Oof, how did
Wow.
they react to that?
They're like, oh, give us another chance, give us another chance, give us another 8 people, we'll do it right. Okay, yeah, no problem, you got it, no problem. So a few weeks later, the hospital calls Stanford. It's like, hey, we found your 8 people. What 8 people? Stanford never sent more people over there.
I'm kind of glad they didn't. I was worried when we're talking about phase 2 of this experiment. I'm like, I think we feel like we probably learned enough with them first 8, because I feel like that really exemplifies the current status of the mental health industry. And what's so synchronistic is that we just spoke with Dr. Pantia, well, like a week or 2 ago,
Yeah.
and she's a mental health professional who is like taking her spiritual gifts and applying it to this field and trying to get people and other doctors out of this habit of diagnosing everybody with a mental disorder. Like, it's not always a freaking mental disorder. People
It's
don't
not,
always
yeah.
need pills shoved down their throat for the rest of their life because they
Right.
say that they have like a spiritual something going on. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I feel like your story is validation that the mental health industry really does need a wake-up call.
Well, and here's another thing is that when and I'm just going through history, right? It's part of my
Yeah.
nature to kind of connect the dots, because through all this journey that I've had, I've learned that everything's interconnected in some way. Everything and everyone is interconnected.
Yeah.
And so when I go back and I start hearing stories about about Standard Oil and their antitrust lawsuit and being broken up, it was John Rockefeller himself that basically said that he would destroy the nation from the inside out, because this is what they did to him, to his company.
Yeah.
What does he have an overabundance of? Oil, right? Crude oil.
Okay.
Also wealth. So what happened is over time, his wealth would go into the medical schools, right? So how many medical schools have had funding from the Rockefellers? And then the pharmaceutical industry got their hands, because you can make some stuff from crude oil, right? So instead of having these holistic medications, these alternative, um, properties, whatever, because you can't make a profit off of nature. Nature's free,
Right,
but you
that
can
part.
off of whatever oil or whatever compounds that they put together off of that. And so gradually his threat has come to reality,
Mm-hmm.
is that he has broken us up from the inside out.
Mm.
Have you
And
ever heard of I think, was it the Rockefeller Masonic Creed? Have you heard of that before? The Masonic Creed?
actually, it was my uncle that was part of the nation or Masons back when he was alive.
Oh,
I
wow.
never got in.
Okay.
And it's, of course, it's one of those things you don't talk about, but
Right.
I've heard a little bit about it.
Okay. It's basically like this declaration stating that, from the place of having wealth and power and privilege, like I'm going, like, basically, I feel I don't want to butcher this because this is such an important thing for people to know about and understand. But basically, the creed is saying that, like, we're going to poison the people from the inside out, like you just said. We're going to poison their brains with the TV programming. We're going to
Mhm.
put nothing but sugars and unhealthy stuff in their food. We're going to tell them that these foods are the healthiest ones available, and even give them a little pyramid picture to try to prove our point. And, they're going to poison the air, and they're going to indoctrinate us in school, and they're
Yeah.
going to do this, and they're going to tell us, oh, it's all normal. This is how things should be. So we don't know any better. We're thinking that the things that are being provided to us are the things that are healthy for us. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, this is all some messed up plan by some rich white dude that wants to, like, rule society. It's kind of crazy. But when you look into it makes sense.
Well,
John D. Rockefeller, Masonic Creed. We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water as well as in the air. They will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. The soft metals will make them lose their minds. We will start earlier, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their minds and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we have created drugs that will make them sicker and cause them other illnesses, for which we will create even more drugs. We will make them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese, and when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus our attention on money and material goods so that they never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and video games so that they are never one with the unity of all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we will find ways to implement technology that alters the mind in their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments, and we will establish opposition within them. We will own both sides. We will always hide our goal, but we will continue our plan. They will do the work for us, and we will prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure, because it is. We will make them kill each other when they oppose us. We will keep them separate from unity through dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and let them believe they are guiding themselves. We will instigate animosity amongst them through our factions. When a light shines among them, we will extinguish it by mockery or death, which suits us best. We will promise to find a cure for our many funds, and yet we will give them more poison. Chemical poisons will be absorbed through the skin of idiots who believe that certain hygiene and beauty products presented by great actors and musicians will bring eternal youth to their faces and bodies, and through their thirsty and hungry mouths, we will destroy their minds and systems of internal organs. Reproduction. However, their children will be born as disabled and deformed, and we will hide this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything around them and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We have to be ingenious in distributing the poisons because they can see far. We'll teach them that poisons are good with funny pictures and musical tones on TV. Those who are looking for them will be helpful. We'll enroll them to push our poisons. When we see that our products are used in film, They will get used to them, and they will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of the children and convince them that we are helping them.
You know, I've been looking into some of those. I am an avid watcher of documentaries.
Same.
Okay.
And so I was watching one where it was talking about the creation of the food pyramid and how back-asswards it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And really it was to help big agriculture. It was to help, you know, these big corporations on the backs of the little guy. You know, why do you think birth rates are no longer as large as they are? Why do you think marriages don't, you know, stay together? Why do you think that there's, yeah, everything within the human dynamic has been ripped apart and monetized?
Exactly.
Capitalism at its worst, right?
End stage capitalism. And I
Yeah.
heard this quote, and it really resonates with me, and I'm going to try not to butcher it. I probably will a little bit. So
That's okay.
but it said, weak men create hard times create strong men create good times create weak men. It is cyclical.
Yes, I've heard that before.
Where do you think we are? It's pretty difficult right now. It is it is a rolling dumpster fire.
Right.
It's not okay. None of this is okay.
No.
Oh my god. I have a reel of GIFs and memes that live in my brain rent free, and I just saw the one of the dumpster fire floating by on the flood of water.
Oh yeah, the flood one, you know, where it's literally like, here's yourself, you know, going down the river, and it's just like me, and it's this rolling dumpster fire. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I'm trying, man. I'm giving it everything I can. I can't tell you how many times I have wanted to just give up and say, I'm done. Lord, take me out. I can't handle this anymore. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, you know, it's like I can lay in bed for half a day, maybe almost close to the evening. And then all of a sudden there's something in me that's just like, you done yet? Get up. What am I doing here? You done yet? No. Well, get up anyway. So, you know.
What do you think it would take to change the current dynamic that we are all living in?
Whoa, big question.
And I'm about to say a really big word that scares a lot of people.
Okay.
And justifiably so.
Okay. I'm bracing myself.
Revolution.
Viva la revolution.
Yeah.
See? Yep, exactly. And it's not something that comes very easy, and it's not something that comes at a low cost. It's dire times and dire measures. But we are so upside down right now. Everybody is suffering. This is not okay. And I'm telling you, man, it's because we are so divided.
Yeah, we are.
Families against families, classes against classes.
And I feel like the media does that like purposefully. They're really playing these, they're the bad guys, they're your enemies, they're not your friends, they're the ones we need to be looking out for. It's always like this divisiveness. If you think differently
than we do, you're automatically the enemy.
Yeah, it's just like the media is so based upon driving fear down your throat. You know, people can't help but see like the differences in everybody versus like if it was a unifying message. Like anytime, I'm feeling I'm going off on a tangent here, but that's forgive me. But like I love mainstream. I don't like mainstream media because it pushes the fear narrative. It's like every time I'm talking to him about the news, I'm always like, I don't want to hear about the killings and the school shootings and the robberies and the whatever's. Like, who helped the old lady cross the street today? Who did something, then went out of their way to put a smile on somebody else's face just because they had the opportunity and the time to do it? Yeah. Like, who rescued a dog from a drowning pond? Or, you know, I don't know. I'm making shit up at this point, but you know what I'm saying. Right. Like, who did something?
There is a YouTube channel. There is a YouTube channel that I believe it's called Good Stuff This Week or whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, it is strictly for good news. There's nothing negative. It's very hopeful. It's very uplifting. I ain't gonna lie. I cried a couple times. You know, it's just one of those like there might be hope for humanity.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that there might be a little hope there. So
Okay.
that's what I'm holding on to.
Keep that thought for later in the interview.
Okay, and oh goodness, so we're going back to the tangent.
Okay.
It is easy, so easy to manipulate and control people out of a stance of fear.
Yes. And they know
Why?
that.
That's exactly why they do that.
Yeah.
Because if you are afraid, you will give up your rights, your liberties, your information, your freedom to anyone that says, I can help you. This is the path. This is the choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You either do something completely horrible or give up a little more freedom for, big government,
Mhm.
to protect you. But they're not protecting us. Yeah, our water is polluted, our air is polluted. We have big land grabs going on from other countries. We've
Yeah.
got corporations that are buying mom and pop farms. We have these, and I don't want to say actual corporation names because I'm
Okay.
not exactly sure who is doing it, but there's these big seed corporations, right? And they genetically alter their seed. And,
Yeah.
the farmers have to buy it and then they plant it and whatnot.
And then the crop is theirs because it was their seed. Go ahead. I know who you're
Mhm.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Begins with an M.
Yep. Ends with an O. Has Aunt
yeah, so
Santo
we're
in the
on
middle.
same
Sorry.
page. And I was listening to this farmer talk about how they had, basically their agents come into his field, take some samples, and then sue him because it's their crops.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that same story.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
And,
that's
and that farmer didn't even plant their seeds. It was blown over from
It
the
blew over.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
He didn't even do it on purpose.
no.
Exactly. It was an act of God.
I know
That's
all
cool.
that firsthand because my grandpa, who recently passed away last year, he was a corn farmer in Iowa with over 800 acres.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I know the intricacies of that story.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Gotcha. Well,
Mhm.
wonderful. I'm glad to actually hear that somebody has some inside knowledge. This is amazing.
Yep, and that
But
absolutely happened.
I believe it.
It's a
Yeah,
shame.
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Because that same company is also responsible for some of the more horrific aspects to the phenomena that I think they are anyway.
Okay.
That has to deal with people's psyche and genetic engineering and all that.
That's a rabbit hole all in itself, huh?
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
that is a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah.
that I don't dare go down.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, but
sorry.
yeah, food is huge, right? So
Mhm.
whoever owns the food basically owns the population, but that's
Mhm.
a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But really, when we're talking about psychiatry and mental health, we also have to talk about physical health. We have to talk about gut health. We have to talk about, moving our bodies. We have to talk about supportive social structures. I mean, this is not a one size fits all,
Right.
and I've just watched I guess you could say a testimonial from a mental health clinic owner, and she says that she's over $25,000 in debt because the blue products basically made an error in their contract and they're not going to make it right. And so there's issues with insurance. There are, these people who go into mental health with the most altruistic of intentions.
Mm-hmm.
They get burned out rather quickly. And that just adds another layer. And if they can't get paid properly, if they can't be reimbursed, if they, and that makes a lot of sense why a lot of them are saying cash only, right? Because they can't trust the very
Yeah.
system that we have.
Right. Now,
So, I mean, it's just layer on layer.
yeah, it's very true. And I feel like a lot of those tactics are done so that those type of people can't be successful. And the ones that are okay with being programmed and pushing the things that they're trying to push are the ones that are allowed to hang around and stay because they're doing what they're told to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, exactly. And it's so much easier to control people out of fear. You
Yeah,
know,
for
that's,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
For
you
sure.
know, you take away your livelihood and what are you going to do? You're going to bend the knee.
Right.
I'm to the point where I've been through so much, I bend the knee for no one. No one.
Good for you, girlfriend. Good for you. And I love that you're using a Game of Thrones reference with bend the knee there. Good
I
for
shall
you.
not bend the knee. No.
Good. Don't.
No.
Good. So is
But
this
that's
where the inspiration for the Dawning Institute came from? Because it seems like the Dawning Institute is a place of like true transformation. So what inspired you to create this space and how do you envision it helping individuals and communities heal?
So what really inspired me to open this, make this a reality, is my own journey. I have been basically in isolation for the past 3-4 years,
Mm.
and I went from the Bay Area, California, and relocated up to Seattle with only, you know, what I could fit in my car, my 2 dogs, and the knowledge that I was doing the right thing. I just
Okay.
felt in my soul, in my gut, that I needed to get away from California and I needed to come relocate up here to Seattle.
Okay.
And funny story.
Mhm.
Y'all remember Twilight, like the first one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember the opening scenes where it was showing the trees, you know, the trees on the landscapes, and you know, basically you're flying over the treetops.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
My soul's just like, your home's there, girl.
Aw.
Oh, okay. So it
And
showed you Seattle before you got there.
it showed me, yep, I guess
Okay.
you could say God, the universe, angels, my
Higher
brother, although
self.
somebody something
Okay.
reached through and said, this is it.
Wow. I was wondering how you picked Seattle, and you just answered my question before I even answered it. Or you
Yeah, it's
answered my
Twilight.
question before I asked it. That's what I should have said.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came up here and built myself up from basically nothing. And during this time, I couldn't afford to go see a therapist. I couldn't afford
Mhm.
to go to a nutritionist. I had no insurance. I was just kind of stuck.
Mm.
Okay.
And so I used what resources I had available, right? So there's the library, there's books, there's ebooks, there's YouTube, there's, you know, research, you know, what is it? The Google library, you know, you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
There's actually a Google research that you, or what is it? Google. Anyway, Google has a whole nother research bar that you can
Okay.
go to look up publications, actual publications.
Okay.
So that's been really interesting. I'll probably remember the name of it in about 30 minutes or so.
Right.
That's okay.
Completely
Yeah, I do
irrelevant.
the same thing.
But so I took all of these resources that I could find and I started really working on myself. I started journaling. I started meditating. I started saying, you know, McDonald's ain't going to cure this, honey. So what do you got to do?
Yeah.
And at that point, I was 350 pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was absolutely miserable. I just got off of, I'm going to say 10 psychiatric medications I never needed.
Wow.
Yeah. My mind, my life was stolen for 21 years.
Wow.
Wow.
So there's that.
That's a
I'm so
So yeah, I have
sorry.
very intimate
statement.
knowledge about how broken the system is.
Wow.
So when I say I was never bipolar, I had ADHD and trauma, you know, CPTSD.
Mhm.
That's how easy it is to misdiagnose someone.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And then, of course, when you're misdiagnosed, it just compounds because everybody believes the initial diagnosis.
Right.
So you're never believed.
So they just keep building upon it and building upon it. And then the meds you take create side effects, which means you need to take more meds for those side effects, which creates more side effects, which means you need more meds. And I get it.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
It's a
So
whole
you just took yourself off of all of that, and wow. I applaud your resiliency and your perseverance and your strength.
Thank you. I don't know
Yes.
where I get it. I don't. God help me because I don't know where I get it. but really it just came down to one night. I lost another job, and I'm just like, I can't hold on anymore. I can't do this. And I was holding a pill bottle in my hand. And in fact, it was Bob that jumped onto my bed and whined and nudged me and gave me that split second of clarity for me to think, wait a minute, if these pills are supposed to keep me from thinking what I'm thinking and doing what I'm about to do, what good are they?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was that split second that gave me that insight to put everything down.
Wow.
Good.
And walk away, never touch him again.
Good.
And
wow.
I don't recommend that. All right, don't recommend that. Do not try this at home, kind of thing. But yeah, it that decision saved me.
Wow.
And I went to see a psychiatrist for a med review. Dr. Littman, in fact, I'd never seen him before, and he had me sit down and go over my story. The first one in 21 years to actually listen.
Wow.
And when I was done, and he had an intern in with him, so this gives me hope. I hope and pray that she internalized this story and is more like Dr. Littman than anybody else.
Okay.
He took off his glasses, put it on about 18 inches of my
file?
Of my files, of my medical records that he had. And he said, I went through each and every record, and I could not find a single piece of evidence that supported the diagnosis of bipolar to begin with.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 21 years, not a single piece of evidence.
Wow.
So he agreed to keep me, to have me off of them. And it was that one decision. It was Dr. Littman. I swear, if I'm ever able to make some sort of like research grant or something in his honor, I want to do that. Because we need more people like him to actually listen to the person's story.
Absolutely, yes.
We need more people to say this is not okay. We need more people to stand up and rise above the foolishness. We need more people to be brave.
Absolutely. It sounds like Dr. Littman and Dr. Pantea are kind of on the same wavelength, to where they listen to the person and they figure out like where these things originated from and understand that, and then unravel everything that came after it.
Because honestly, if you stop saying, well, why did this happen? And look at, kind of change your perspective, right? And say, well, if things are set up this way, why wouldn't they? Right? Instead of saying, why did it? Ask, why not?
Yeah.
And so I think people with that perspective do a lot more good in this world than those who are saying, well, why did this happen to me? That this victimization complex that we all seem to have, right? Everybody is so offended. Everybody is tiptoeing on eggshells around people. Everybody's just like cancel culture or whatever it is. Well, when our society is set up the way it is, why wouldn't it happen? We are set up at this point to fail. And this is not the America. This is not the nation that my great-grandfather served on the Kansas State Senate for.
Okay.
This is not what we believed in. He was, from what I read about him, because, again, in a toxic family, history is basically erased.
Yeah.
And so all I can really glean from him is what I'm able to read in the archives and the records. And so I was reading his obituary, and it was just so respectful, and it was loving, and it was honorable. And that gave me insight into who I come from.
Oh, I love that.
And, it was this beautiful thing to read that I actually want to have it, I want to have it printed out and
framed,
hung up. It's like, this is who I am from, right? It's not this story of victimization.
Right.
It's not this story of toxicity. It is this story of unity and strength and commitment and community. It is the story of somebody standing up to do what's right. And I think that's really where I get it from too. To stand up and do what's right. To use your voice regardless of how it shakes.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you're an advocate for breaking toxic cycles and re-evaluating conventional approaches to wellness. What are some toxic patterns you see people often struggle with, and how do you guide them to break free?
I think the biggest one is, and we just touched on it, the self-victimization complex.
Yeah.
Poor me. Everything happens to me. Everything happens because of somebody else or some other outside circumstance.
Mm.
And when I started really looking at myself in the mirror, right? Because the only way you can heal
Mm-hmm.
yourself, the only way you can see yourself is to go through the darkness, to go through your patterns, to face yourself in the mirror, no matter how ugly it is. And trust me, I had some ugly stuff I needed to face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But really, it's that whole woe is me. I am a victim of society. I am a victim of circumstance. I am a victim of life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started changing my narrative, saying, look, of course, this is the way I turned out. But I am standing up right here and saying no more. So how do I take control of that? How do I go from Jesus, y'all took the wrong wheel, okay, first off, and how do I gain control back over myself?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's when I really started walking through that. Now, I had someone that came to me saying, hey, you know, your story, your pain is touching. I want to help you.
Oh.
So then I started having people come in, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears, kind of thing.
Yes.
And so I had some really deep seated trust issues, and justifiably so.
Okay.
But she was able to work with me where I was at. And there would be months where I wouldn't reach out to her because it's just like, I'm too much of a mess. Nobody can handle me. I can't even handle me. You know, why would I want to put this on somebody else? And when I started actually reaching out, it's when she was there. So I had to get out of my own way. Y'all, I had to get out of my own way. and basically say, I deserve to be happy too.
Yeah.
Just because my own family, right, my own blood, didn't know how to love.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't know how to love me. Didn't know what they were doing. Fell into the matrix. Doesn't mean I am, you know, cursed to walk the same path.
Or powerless to change it.
Exactly. We all have power within ourselves. And I'm not talking about, you know, some mystic voodoo, whatever kind of juju stuff.
Okay.
I'm talking about we can all take the wheel of our lives. We can all take control of what we do. When we start making different choices, we start having different consequences, whether good or bad. Right? So isn't it, I mean, people say, how do I put this? When you do the same shit over and over again, expecting different results, isn't that just insanity?
It is, yeah.
So why are we as a global society saying, oh, the system's the best thing in the world. Let's keep throwing pills. Let's keep doing the same shit. I mean, it's going to get better.
You're so funny because as you were talking in my head, I'm like, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And then you said what you said. So that's synchronicity.
Yes.
You know, so when I was able to take the blinders off, literally with all those pills, I was able to take the blinders off. And I'm telling you, I saw color, for like vivid color, for the first time in 2 decades.
Wow.
I was looking for a business, a building, for about 2 years, ever since I saw it on the History Channel, right? I was in Vallejo, California at that time, and I saw, you know, something on the History Channel. I'm just like, that's amazing. Where is it? And I was looking it up. I'm like, oh, there's a local chapter, a local branch. I couldn't find it, y'all. I couldn't find it for 2 years. Couldn't find it. I get off of the pills, and I go in to see my counselor for one of the last times after about a week. I was taking a walk. Guess what was catty corner across the street?
The building you've been looking for but couldn't see because you couldn't see color.
I was literally not in my right
Wow.
mind.
Wow. And you said for how many years? Did you say 21 years?
21 years. In fact,
Wow.
I received Social Security disability, permanent disability in 2013. And I remember sitting there in the hearing, and the vocational expert said there is no job currently in existence that I could ever do successfully, long term, that would provide an income, a stable income. I couldn't manage my finances. I
Wow.
basically was a lost cause.
Oh,
I basically was just a burden on the system. And that's what those pills did to me.
jeez.
But because of that misdiagnosis, everything snowballed and I became a burden.
Jeez.
Wow.
Now, how powerful is someone that they get off of all of that, recreate themselves, and prove the federal government wrong?
Shout out to you, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
you.
So what I offer is true freedom of choice. What I have found within myself is that there is no one right or wrong way to heal yourself.
Okay.
If you're doing something that works for you that doesn't hurt anybody else, go do it. Right? If you want to go take a nature walk and scream at the top of your lungs, go do it. If you
Yeah.
want to go see a traditional counselor, by all means, go do it. If that's what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, you want to see a life coach, go do it. You want Reiki, you want, art therapy, you want to listen to music, go do it. There is no one right answer. And in fact, when you reintegrate yourself into your whole self, you bring back your body, mind, and soul. You take control and you say, I am a whole person.
Mm.
That really gives you a new kind of perspective over your life.
Yeah.
Saying,
Sure.
I am eating better because I love myself. I am working out. And in fact, just before this, I was doing some exercises in my front room. So, I still work out. So, right, you move your body, your mind gets better, you eat better, your mind gets better. Everything is
Absolutely.
interconnected.
Yeah.
And so when you align yourself, it doesn't matter if you believe in organized religion. It doesn't matter if you believe in spirituality. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in any of that. But the thing is, if you recalibrate yourself into wholeness, you finally start living a life that you are happy with.
I can totally resonate with that. I don't share the same background as you, but I do share similar nuances to your story in the sense that, like, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is a chronic pain condition, and I was taking all kinds of pills to try to mitigate all the symptoms that I was having, and I got really depressed, and I was ready to just like not be here anymore. I had like the plan, the date, the whole thing ready to go, and then something happened. I don't want to get into all that, but anyways, I'm still here, and basically, like,
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. But I went from being in like that state of mind to like finding yoga, finding spirituality, start taking myself out of the victimization mindset and trying to figure out what the lessons in those scenarios were rather than what was me, like what was I supposed to get out of it. I started doing yoga, which was good for my physical health and my mental health. I was eating better. I was dedicated to that. And like you said, it was like all of a sudden, once I stopped taking those prescription medications for the chronic pain condition, it was like all of a sudden, it was like just everything was like brighter. It was just like, wow, like all this has been out here this whole time. Like, right? like physically, like literally and not literally, like at the same time. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I can relate to that.
It's kind of like this is probably going to be a little odd, but I'm going to embrace it. Okay. It's kind of like the universe has taken a wet dead fish and slapped you across the face with it. So it's one of those things where it's just like, holy hell, what just happened? But oh my god, is that what the sun looks like?
Yeah.
Is that what the
like the fog has been lifted, right? Like, the fog just has been lifted, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Like,
I understand the mental fog due to prescription medications completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot brighter out here now, ain't it?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I live in Seattle, so it's always overcast. I mean,
Girl, you got weather jokes. I don't got time for that. I'm only kidding.
but I love it though. It doesn't reach the hundreds really. You know, I'm able to
Uh-huh.
just be comfortable. So
Yeah.
honestly, I do love the weather here. I don't know why people's just like, oh, it's so dark and it's so rainy and it's so this, and I go, I live in a basement apartment. I'm basically a cave troll. I love it. Like, what are y'all talking about?
So let me ask you, as a leader in like the wellness space, somebody who, you know, does the Dawning Institute, has all of this experience and life knowledge and wisdom, how do you personally stay grounded and maintain your own well-being while helping so many others while they're on their healing journeys?
Oh, great question.
Oof, girl, oof. Oh God, I do.
You
I do
mentioned
quite a bit.
exercise.
I do, yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do quite a bit. So yeah, it's exercise. I get out with my dog, so I take him to the puppy park. Yes, I said that.
He's looking at us.
He's like, wait, I heard the words. What?
I heard the words. Yeah, I'm starting to really get to know my neighbors, building community. I've started networking, which, by the way, as an introvert, is a hellscape.
Yeah.
And being quite awkward myself, it doesn't help. But I've also learned that being my authentic self will bring the right people to you. You know, so I got done, I believe it was last month, with a 11-day free course on living in authenticity. I have that posted on my Instagram pages, on my threads, on my YouTube, all of that. So if you want to take a look at those 11, mini challenges, go ahead.
Okay.
Ooh,
But
okay.
really, living within my authenticity means respecting myself enough to have boundaries. So then,
Boundaries. Not
and
being
it's
a
not like,
people-pleasing person out of fear of rejection.
oh yeah,
Had to learn
I
that
was
one myself.
huge. I was a huge people pleaser to my own detriment. And so when I respected myself enough to start putting up boundaries, and it's not those boundaries where you say, you know what you did hurt me and I don't want you to do it again. It's like, no, what you did is unacceptable. And if you do it again,
Yeah.
we will table this conversation to another time. Or if you continue doing it, I will no longer be in this equation.
Gotcha.
I know where the door is. I know exactly where the door is. I know how to use it. People say, well, you can't cut off people. They're your family. Snip, snip.
You cut that
you
cord.
And the
My
thing is,
ad worded some expletives in that statement.
Oh, I'm right with you. I'm trying to keep my mouth closed.
What I heard was snip snip bitches.
or oh God, what is it? MFer, yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's it? Denzel Washington? Or no. What's that? What's dude?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Thank you. In his voice.
Okay.
Snip, snip,
Yep.
yeah.
Gotcha. I like that one
you.
too.
Yeah. So
we got exercise, walk and bop in the park, and boundaries.
And so I also, immerse myself in baths every once in a while when I'm feeling extra chaotic.
I think
and
there's Aquarians like water healing. I think that's a thing.
Well, we also like to stir the pot, right? But then, of course, we eventually need to lick the spoon. So I prefer to stir up the pot with dessert.
Oh, there you
go. But really, also, I have created my home to be my peace. I have these, light blues, these greens, everything very calming and peaceful. I have candles. So once in a while, I will just put on a movie, turn off all the lights, light the candles, and just calm down. I also write, and sometimes I have this inspiration, so I'll make a random video about random things. Who knows? But I put that up as well.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll start writing things down in a journal. Sometimes I'll just put my headphones in, go into the kitchen and dance till I can't breathe anymore. There's just so many outlets that people have that they don't really realize. And your enjoyment doesn't need to be monetized. Your life doesn't need to have a price tag. And there's something that I put up that I wholeheartedly believe in. When you get to a point in your healing journey, you'll see right through all the static. And you'll realize people are not going to remember you for how much money you have in the bank. They're not going to remember you for what kind of cool car you drove. They're not going to remember you for the outfits or for the purses or for, whatever kind of jewelry. They will remember you for your character.
Yeah.
How you made people feel, what kind of impact you made in the world, both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So who you are says more about you than what you own.
Mm-hmm.
I have been happy with someone who was a disabled war veteran. I was miserable with someone who had a stable, good income. It does not matter what you have. It matters who you are,
Aww.
what good you can do to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's really why I stay single, is because I know what I can do. I know what I can bring. I know my peace is very important to me. And so if I bring someone into my life, number one, good luck, because it's very hard
She
to
said
get,
good luck.
to get to that. But number two, you have to be someone special to get close to me. And it's that way for reasons, because I don't want the chaos. So when you're bringing yourself together, you'll realize how hard you have to work to create that peace.
Yeah.
And so, it just has to be at your forefront. You have to have a good character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, good for you. There goes it goes back to your boundaries again. It's like you want a specific kind of person that's going to understand what they're walking into, and then like what that entails and everything. So I commend you for all of those boundaries and understanding that you have of yourself, because I feel like once you love yourself, like loving yourself teaches other people how to love you, right? So like if you're strong in your conviction and you set boundaries and you have strong morals and you're empathetic and stuff like that, like I feel like other people will pick up on that and reciprocate that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and when you get to a point where you are healing yourself enough. Now I'm just going to put this out there. I was not always the nicest person in the world. I had my claws out. I was constantly triggered. I was constantly aggravated and mad. But as I started really going through this journey, I started being able to calm my ass down and realize not everybody's out to get me. Not everybody's out to hurt me. And then it started slowly shifting. So I've noticed within the past few years, where I started to where I am now, the relationships I have around me are at such a higher level. It's at this point where I go out of my way to thank people. And if I have, an issue, let's say with a bill, right? I'm not going to be that Karen on the phone making, some poor minimum wage person's day hell.
She said I'm not going to be that Karen on the phone.
I'm not. I have seen some stories. I have worked in customer. No.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Seriously, those people need a raise.
Right.
But I'm that person to say, hey, look, this is what's going on. I don't know if you can do anything about it, but can you help?
Yeah.
When you are able to come from a place of compassion, all of a sudden doors start opening.
And And
Absolutely.
gratitude also.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. You just say thank you.
Yeah.
You say thank you to the server. Give them a little tip. You say, thank you to the person holding the door open for you.
Yeah.
Thank you to the random stranger that let you merge in traffic. I'm telling you, man, some of these Seattle drivers. It's these little things
Mhm.
that add up through the day.
You know what's something I like to do, and I don't even know where or when I picked this up and started doing it, but like if I'm like at the, I don't know, like the food market or whatever, and somebody's wearing a name badge, right? And they don't ever say their name out loud, but like when we're leaving, like when we checked out, we got our stuff, we're walking out, I'll be like, by the way, thanks, Sarah, have a great day. And they look at me like, how do you know my name? Because like we never conversed about what their name was, but like just acknowledging them as the human being that they are, it like brings a smile to people. Like, she recognized me for me. Okay, like,
yeah, exactly.
Just something so simple as saying somebody's name, like the Kevin guy at Walmart that stands there and checks our receipt. He's like, thanks, Kevin. Have a good one, boss.
Right.
There's a security guard. I never got his name right, but there's a security guard at my local Safeway that's there all the time, and I mean he's got good energy about him, right? So I just go by at first, hey, have a good day, thank you for what you do. And then I kept seeing him, just like, finally I stopped. I go, dude, when are you gonna have a day off? You are always here. And so it just started like that, and over time it's just like, all right, I'm gonna get my bingo card and see how many days you actually get off, because you're working your tail off, like you're doing a lot. And so it's those little things to make people smile. And then I started getting a blanket and putting it down in the cart and taking Bob in. I mean, Seattle's amazing, right? You can take Bob it, or you can take your dogs into the grocery stores as long as they don't make a ruckus or anything.
Yeah.
So I literally pick up Bob and I put him in the cart, and I mean, there's so many smiles that I get. There's so many conversations that start around Bob, about how he's so cute and he's such a good boy, and just little doses of happiness.
Yes, the world needs a lot more of those. A lot more of those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You should see the joy and shrieks on little kids' faces, like, a mommy, a dog.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
We do the same thing when we're at the store, we see a puppy, we're like, oh my God, look at the puppy.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things like, hey, you want to say hi? I just ask people.
Oh, look, and he just poked his head up. He's like, wait a minute, who am I saying hi to? Hey, Bob, shout out.
It's like, I asked him, do you want to say hi? It's okay. He's a good boy. And so, that's when we really start getting into these bigger conversations, and it might only be a minute or so, but I mean, it really brings people together. It brings people, have a better day.
So what you said earlier reminded me of a quote from Maya Angelou, who says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that is exactly what you just described.
I had that on my email. What
Your
is
signature?
it? My email signature line.
Synchronicity.
And so I also saw the movie. What is it? The Imitation Game, about Alan Turing.
Okay.
And I have this quote on my Instagram and whatnot, but basically it goes, it's the people who it's those who people thought nothing of that do the things nobody could do, kind of thing.
I just read that quote this morning. I swear to my life. I swear.
So, I mean, it really hit home, because I was basically not only discarded as the black sheep and scapegoat.
Scapegoat.
Thank you. That one word. Yes. Of my family, but I was discarded by the government. I was discarded I've lost everything and everyone, like, over and over. Nobody thought anything of me other than a problem. And when I walked out of everyone's lives, left California, went no contact, blocked people. I can't tell you. I don't even want to look at my phone how many people I've blocked. But when you decide to take over your life, and you transform yourself. And it takes many, many transformations, many deaths and rebirths, which is why my chapter is entitled The Phoenix is Not Mythology.
Yes.
I wear the Phoenix necklace.
Okay.
So yeah, it is very symbolic of everything that I've had to go through. But it takes many, many, many deaths and rebirths, because you basically have to kill off that part of you that you built to survive in order to become who you need to be.
I'm thinking of remember I told you how memes and GIF live rent free in my head. So there's this GIF.
Me too.
There's a GIF that says, like, the top picture shows, like, I don't know, like Snow White, like glowing, all happy and stuff. And it's like, this is what I thought a spiritual awakening would be like. And then there's the other one on the bottom. It's like the dehydrated alien, like looking like he's like sucking the life out of, like he's like dying and he looks like crap. And it's like, this is what it actually feels like.
That's what it's
like, because you have tons of shadow work to do, tons of traumas to heal, tons of feelings to feel and allow them to flow through without blocking them. You got to feel them, let them flow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but I mean, look where you're at now, girl. Look where you're at now.
Well, and I think that this isolation, I think this isolation has been a painful gift.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I haven't had anybody around me to absorb that pain, that negativity, right? So I can't tell you how many breakdowns that I have had where I was on the floor screaming in pain because I was facing something. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that, especially alone.
Yeah.
So when I was going through all of this, I asked, what can I do? Why am I going through this? Number one, why was I survived? Why was I sent back? Okay, good. This is not what I signed up for. So why was I sent back? Number two, why am I here? It can't be just to go through all of this pain for no reason.
There's got to be a purpose to it, right?
There's got to be something. And I knew I had something in me. It was just locked up. And so when I started asking these questions, ask and you shall receive, I was doing a nature walk one night, and basically I was saying, what is it I need to do? How can I put this together? How am I supposed to help people from going through what I just had to go through? I scrape up a little bit of money and pay for, either Reiki or counseling or something, but it's once every few months.
Yeah.
This isn't okay. How can I help? How can I keep people from experiencing what I'm going through?
What answer did you get?
I had the song, I believe it's Black Parade, in my headphones.
Okay.
And I had this.
Is it the Carry On song?
No, not that one. It was
That's probably a different brand. Sorry.
Anyway, Welcome to the Black Parade. Okay. That's what it's called. Welcome to the Black Parade.
Okay.
And so I just had this feeling like you have to trust, which is just like
that alone is a statement, right?
Yeah. No. But you have to trust. You have to take off your shoes. You have to walk through this barren field, or this field with like blackberry bushes on the side, and there was a small encampment, so who knows what's in there. And you have to go to this tree, and if you will make it, but you have to trust. And I'm going, who knows what's up? No, there's dogs that roam up. You don't. No.
Okay.
And finally, it's like I got this feeling like, okay, if you don't do it now, it's never gonna happen. And I'm just
the good old now or never ultimatum, huh?
Excuse me. So I'm just like, fine. and it was kind of raining, which is, par for the course. So I take off my shoes and I start walking towards this tree. And I'm going, if I step in something or on something, y'all ain't going to hear the last of it. Okay. That's what I got to say.
You're so sassy. I love it.
And I made it. I made it with nothing but dirt and leaves on my feet.
Wow.
Wow.
And I got to the tree. And, I don't want to say I hugged the tree, but, I put my hands on it.
We hug trees. It's okay.
And it was almost like you could hear the heavens cheering, like, oh my God, she finally got it. It's like, no, I didn't, but I did something. I don't know what I did. And it was, that meme Rent Free where, it's the control tower in NASA and they're like, yeah, she's finally got it. Yeah, that was it.
Your spirit guides are like, hallelujah, she listened to us.
Like, oh my God. But no. So I went back and I felt a lot better. It's like the heaviness was lifted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm still confused AF. All right. I don't know what I'm doing, but I did what y'all told me. Like, what now? Right. I followed my gut up here to Seattle. I built myself up from absolutely nothing. What am I supposed to do now? And so it was not even a day. And I got the idea for the Dawning Institute.
Wow.
And so here I am. I'm working as a business office manager in an assisted living facility, and we have a salon owner that comes in and does the residents' hair and nails and things like that, right? And I'm looking at this and I go, well, she pays rent for the salon, and it's based off of how many people she sees. And wait a minute. I can do that. People are crying out, right? You see this light bulb?
Yeah.
People are crying out for work-life balance. They are crying out to have control over their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They are crying out saying that they can't afford to live. I think I got it. And so that's really where it comes from, was the beauty salon. And I told her and she was just like, oh, and it was so cute. It was a whole moment. But really the inspiration came from her.
Okay.
And so yeah, I got together a few people and told them my idea. And within a few weeks, I had a licensed hypnotherapist on board. I had a woman that actually helps me through some of my things. So Katie, she does, quantum biofeedback, Reiki, Tai Chi, human design, things like that. And she's just like, I love this. I'm going to be on board. I have a professional chef and nutrition consultant that's on board. And then I started building from there. And so, now I have this network of a life coach in Florida. I have a certified, nutrition specialist in the Netherlands that is offering a masterclass on diet and nutrition. I have a tenured art teacher that also does meditation. So she has the masterclass for art and meditation. She's in Belgium. I have people that are intuitively guided, in case you're into that kind of spiritual sphere, that would like more of a intuitive kind of guidance. I have her on board. I also have a reverend that just signed up. So in case you're more of the
what's his name?
What is it? The institutional kind of religion system. I have that also. As I say, everyone is welcome here. We don't have just one way to heal people.
Yeah.
And so if you want to heal your body, there's nutrition. If you want to heal your mind, we've got life coaching. If you want to heal your soul, or you want to heal your mind, there's life coaching, and there's a licensed hypnotherapist. And he's also a smart recovery facilitator. So if you're dealing with addiction, we've got those groups as well. And then for the soul, there's either the spiritual leader, there's the reverend that can walk you and guide you through. It is quite literally mind, body, and soul.
I love
and
Me too.
it's one of those things that now I'm putting together a functional website, and this has been, oh my goodness, this year. I can't even just make it stop. Okay, I just no.
It's almost over. It's almost over.
But really, it's you learn so much through the challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you get through to those successes, it's just like, are you kidding me? Is this real? And in fact, this literally just happened to me. So I applied for something a couple months ago. I've been trying to teach myself how to do grant writing and whatnot. Never got awarded for anything for over a year. And I was just awarded from Hello Alice and Wells Fargo and Generational Entrepreneurship. They got together. There is a equal or equitable access boost camp that I have been awarded. And so for the next 12 weeks, it's going to be pretty intense. And I mean, to be selected, I had to go through this whole application process.
Okay.
But to have this vision, this dream realized, not just by those I talk to, but we're talking about Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
That is a major company. Hello Alice is really big when it comes to the grants platform.
Okay.
And then the generation entrepreneurship, they're basically like a global thing for entrepreneurs. So for those three powerhouses to get together and say, you know what, we like what you're doing, come on in.
Yeah.
I'm still going, oh my God.
For real. That's amazing. It's so, like validation from the universe. The universe is like, all right, you listen to us, you follow the plan. If you build it, they will come. Yep. Now here's the money you need to keep it going.
Okay, kicking and screaming. We're not going to leave that part out.
Okay, that's fine.
Very difficult, right? And the thing is, because of all of these challenges, right? And because I had to start where I started. People are saying, oh, get a loan or do this or do that. I don't qualify.
Okay.
I literally am bootstrapping this whole thing. So, I'm working full time, keeping a roof over my head, and really just putting everything that I can into this business. So,
love that.
I'm exhausted. I'm not an island. Okay.
So I appreciate you sharing all of the trials and tribulations and challenges that you've experienced to get to where you are now. But a question that I've been wanting to ask you is, what has been one of the most rewarding moments in your work where you've seen someone truly transform through their healing process with you?
It's not really who you touch, but who watches you.
Okay.
So let's make that very clear. Yes, it is wonderful, the people that I have touched, the people that have honored me with their trust and their support. And, I've built these great relationships. But the thing that made me want to cry, there was a woman working at the facility for an outside company. We talked every now and then. Good woman, right? Good-hearted, beautiful soul. And she asked me a couple questions here and there about what I'm doing. Never really got into it, right? It just didn't. She started losing weight.
Okay.
Okay, and she's watching me, I'm watching her. Now, mind you, when I started the job, I was about 240 or so. When I left, I was down in my 190s.
Mm,
So people are watching this progression, not only me losing weight, but coming into who I am.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just, I'm going to say a few weeks before I left, she came up to me and she said, "You have been the biggest inspiration." She goes, "I have been watching your entire journey these past couple of
Mm-hmm.
years. And everything that you have shown is what I have been able to do. And it's because of your strength and it's because you modeled it that I had the inspiration to follow you."
Wow.
Come to find out, she was diabetic.
Okay.
So by losing weight, she got that under control.
Okay.
It got better. I think a couple other things that she had going got better or got
Mm.
resolved.
Mm.
She was happier. I mean, it's not really who you who you directly work with, but people watch you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I say again, it's not really about what you have, it's about your character, how many people you can trust just by you being you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people you can touch
Mm.
Yeah.
just by being yourself. You don't need to have constant interaction. You don't need to have people to pay you for your services, because the thing is, if you live what you teach, if you live, what you preach, people will be inspired and they will pick up on that.
Yes. Absolutely.
And that is probably the most touching thing
That's a
that I have
beautiful story.
ever witnessed.
That's a beautiful story, and I resonate again with that because
Yeah.
I'm a teacher and I worked with kids that were in the Department of Juvenile Justice. Like they come from really rough backgrounds. They have all kind of charges. I mean, some of them were 15 with felonies, and it was like that kind of population.
Mm.
And they noticed everything I did and everything I said and the way in which I did it, because like I would have an interaction, like let's say there was like, I don't know, let's say there was like a kid that was annoying me and like it was an obvious situation where like they were just doing the most and they were just acting out, right? But like I would handle it in like a loving, compassionate kind of way, and I would allow them to do what they were doing, but then I would also bring us to a point of resolution. And after it was over and that kid left the room, I noticed that the other kids were like, "Yo, did you see how Miss Allie just did that?" Like they were like, "Miss Allie, like you could have totally just went off on that boy and told him all about himself, but instead he left here with a smile." And I was like,
Yeah, that's how you make change.
Yeah.
That's how you make change. It's not.
I feel like it comes from a place of just understanding that we're all eternal spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. We're all here with the soul contract to learn certain lessons,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't judge people for where they're at on their journey. You just need to help them along the way. We're all, like Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home.
Oh, yeah, totally. And that's one of the things I also learned. So in my journey, I wanted to understand myself and other people a little bit better. So I got my certification from Washington State with as being a peer counselor.
Okay.
So I don't, it's not one of those things that I use, right? I actually have to work under a counselor and go through, these programs and steps and whatnot.
Sure.
So I do not use it professionally in that capacity, but it has opened my eyes in many ways on meeting people where they are.
Yes.
Helping people make goals, kind of coaching people through these phases in their life. Nothing's permanent. Nothing's going to be here forever. So it's being able to really help them where they are to where they need to be.
Sure.
So and it takes a different kind of person to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Now, before I let Justin ask his famous question, can you do
Oh.
our audience a favor and tell them where they can find you, drop your links, where they can go to find you online?
Yeah, of course. So my website is currently being redeveloped for full functionality,
Okay.
and that's dawninginstitute.com.
Okay.
So just be aware that it's not going to be fully up and functional yet for a little bit, for a little while. And then I'm also on TikTok at Dawning Institute, as well as Instagram, so Dawning Institute LLC. I'm also active on Threads at the Cat Next Door, so kind of like the neighbor next door, but my name's Kathryn, so KAT.
Oh,
So the
okay.
Cat Next Door.
Okay.
And so that's basically where you can find me. Also, I have a few videos here and there um, on YouTube. So it's nothing, you know, I don't, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. So yeah, I'm putting these things together. So I know I need to be more consistent. But I'm getting some really good content out there.
Awesome.
And so now I'm also looking into another mini challenge. So the first one was living authentically,
Okay.
and this one is most likely going to be on relationships. So relationships to self, relationships with family, relationships with coworkers, you know, general kind of relationships. So
Gotcha.
I'm looking into that. So stay tuned.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
And I will provide those links on the screen on display as well as in the video description box below.
Yep.
So you guys can check that out. Ask her your famous one.
Okay. What is your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
I'd say, can't we all get along? But
That's actually a common answer.
no, it's unity. It's unity. That's the only way we can get past all of this. I saw something, and it really just kind of hit home. It's like if all of the people on the inner city unified with them good old boys, and they got to, you know, you get together, so
There'd be no stopping them.
Yeah.
there's no stopping. And I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest thing, right? Is that you keep us separated, you keep us at war with each other,
Yeah.
so we do not become as powerful as we can be. Because we are a nation full of people, full of ideas, full of talents, full of knowledge, and we've got a few people at the top. And I will tell you, it is a perceived position of power. Perceived.
Mm.
Because they are granted that position.
And it can be taken away.
It can have, anybody is replaceable.
Yeah.
Anybody is
Yeah.
replaceable. So whether it's the president of the United States, your representatives, your Congress, a CEO, you see, how many people do you see being replaced in CEOs? Boeing, right? Just down there for me, his CEO got the boot. There's somebody new coming in. Everybody's replaceable. But if you keep the people, millions of people, billions, trillions around the world, whatever, of people at each other's throats, we are going to be blind to what's going on at the top.
Yeah.
But if we unify, we become their biggest nightmare.
Because why? You cut out there. I'm sorry. Because why?
We are no longer controllable.
Exactly. Right.
If we see the truth,
Right.
if we know what's going on, we're unstoppable. If we unify, we are going to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Love that. Great answer. Great
answer. Those that are at the top, what's their biggest fear?
Falling down the ladder.
Yep. Yeah. Getting knocked off the top.
They will do whatever they need to do to stay at the top.
Yeah.
And we see this.
Yeah, it's very, very obvious right now. And I feel like the house of cards is crumbling because there's a lot of people getting exposed. There's a lot of light shining in a lot of dark, creepy corners that have been dark, creepy corners for a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're finally taking the flashlight and shining it in those areas going, oh, got to change that, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing. What is done in the dark, what is said in the dark, and sometimes even what is thought of in the dark will
Mm.
eventually come to the light, because
Yes.
what you think will eventually become your programming,
Yep.
and that will become your actions.
Yeah.
Yep. Facts.
So everything will be exposed.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. You cannot build an empire off of the blood of innocence and expect it to remain sturdy forever. You just can't do that.
No.
Right.
That's not the way it's going to work.
Yeah, we're living
You
in
will see-
interesting times. That's definitely for sure. With everything that's happening on the earth and how all these people are going through their own individual awakenings, and the earth is going through an ascension herself. It's just a wild
Yeah.
time to be incarnated
Yeah.
here in these meat suits, you guys. It really is. It really is. I want to ask you a question, and this may be a little bit heavy. If it is, I'm sorry, but I feel like it's a good question to ask. If you
Bring it.
could give your teenage self right before the NDE one piece of advice, knowing what you know now, everything that you know now, what would that piece of advice be to her?
One piece of advice. Do not discredit your capabilities.
Mm.
People are going to misjudge you. People are going to misunderstand you. People are going to tell us what you are capable of. That is their narrative. That is not your reality. You can rise above,
Yes.
but you also must burn yourself down.
Hmm.
And it's going to suck. And you're going to have to lose everything you've ever known.
Mm.
But when you're able to do this, you are also able to be an inspiration. And from that, you will start saving lives. And so in the end, your loneliness, your pain will be somebody's roadmap to success.
Wow. I love that answer. And I know it was very specific that you answered it towards your teenage self, but I feel like that message can resonate with a lot of people, just kind of like on a in general level.
Yeah.
And I
absolutely.
feel like a lot of people in our audience are going to take something from that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, for real. This has been an enlightening conversation, Kathryn. I've enjoyed this time immensely. Thank you so much for being so
too.
honest and open and vulnerable, and honest and open and vulnerable. And yeah, I just really love how you shared your story, and I'm excited for our audience to hear it.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. This
Absolutely.
is the biggest honor to be able to share my story, to shine my light. And if it touches anyone, just reach out. I am always open to hear feedback. So info@dawninginstitute.com. If you're interested in becoming a service provider, I am always looking for more people. We can go over that a little bit later. But yeah, we also have this outreach program. So just because you can't afford to live doesn't mean you deserve to suffer in the shackles and prisons of trauma. So
Wow.
we are, once we have the full capabilities of our website up, we will be taking applications for our outreach program as well.
Thank you so much. You're such
Awesome.
a shiny light, shiny beacon of light in this good school. So thank you so much. Any last pieces of advice or words you want to share before we close off today?
You're not allowed to give up. Yeah, you're not allowed to give up. And I have this personally. So I've got a tattoo, the semicolon.
Okay.
And it says,
Understood.
and so she goes on.
Understood.
One step at a time, one breath at a time, one moment at a time.
Mm.
But you are worthy. You are more worthy than you know you are. You are more worthy than the bullshit society puts on you. You are more worthy than what your trauma tells you. Those ugly ghosts in your head, do not give them control.
Love that. That reminds me of the tattoo that Simone Biles has on the back of her neck that says, and so I rise.
Before I got this tattoo, it was a saying that I loved, obviously, Maya Angelou. And I was like, and still I rise is perfect, because I feel like that's kind of the epitome of my career and my life story, because I've always rise to the occasion. And even after all of the traumas and the downfalls, I've always risen.
Because
Like the Phoenix. Yeah.
like the Phoenix. And like Cardi B says, you knock me down 9 times, but I get up 10. Okay? Like,
Exactly.
it's the energy of, you could try to push me down and keep me down, but I'm not staying there no matter how much you got your foot on my neck. I'm gonna get up.
Yeah.
You might get your licks in, right? You might
Yeah.
have me bloody, beaten, and bruised on the floor, but I will get up, wipe the blood from my mouth, look you in the eye, and say, "That all you got?"
Right. Right, that part.
You know, that
Yeah.
part.
That part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Kathryn. I really enjoyed this time. And for our audience that's still sticking around, please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word.
All right, much
Much
love.
love, peace, and namaste.
Namaste.